Director Charles Lawton and cinematographer Stanley Cortez showcased their intricate use of lighting and shadows, specifically through the use of low-key lighting and backlighting, to emphasize the theme of extreme duality of good and evil depicted in the 1955 film The Night of the Hunter. To understand their use of lighting, it's important to know what the three-point light system is. It consists of the key light, the main light source, which creates deep shadows, the fill light opposite of the key light, which adjusts depth to the shadows, and backlight, which provides highlights along the edges of the subject, distinguishing the subject from the background. With this information, we can now discuss low-key lighting. Larson and Monahan, in their book Looking at Movies: An Introduction to Film, define low-key lighting as when little or no fill light is used, the ratio between bright illumination and deep shadow is very high, which produces a harsh, gloomy atmosphere. Using the three-point light system, Lawton and Cortez show the duality between good and evil throughout the characters in the film. Now let's take a look at the scene when Harry Powell kills Willa.
Ain't that so, Harry? So you might say that it was the money that brung us together. The rest of it don't matter.
Now let's take a look at three key points of this scene. First, Powell's face is often illuminated fully by the key light on one half and fully in a shadow by the lack of a fill light on the other half. This creates a visual duality of dark and light, or good and evil, that clues in the audience to recognize his inner struggle between the good of the Bible and the evil of his killer nature. The audience sees this struggle in him throughout the film through the use of familiar image. The next key part of this scene is the lighting surrounding Willa. The mom has a strong key light on her face, giving her an innocent and angelic-like glow. She is naive, but good. This becomes a familiar image as well at the end of the film when we see Ruby in a similar love-struck, naive way. The difference is that Ruby has low-key lighting on her face to show the duality of doing what is right versus what is wrong. Not only do these characters show duality of good and evil, but the room itself also shows this theme. The lighting of this scene shows a steeple as if in a church, which shows in this case the evil use of religion by Powell. Again, Lawton and Cortez use this as a familiar image for the end of the film when the audience sees the same steeple lighting, but notices that it's different here since Rachel is using religion for a good purpose. This still image also shows innocence and goodness that is seen in children throughout the film because of the bright key light shining on their faces and not having any other dark shadows cast upon them. As the movie progresses and shows intense moments, Powell moves from low key light to backlight. Powell is often backlit as a silhouette to showcase when he is at the peak of his purely evil intentions, showing there is now no good in him as the darkness has overcome his body. Lawton and Cortez also use this familiar image with his silhouette to emphasize this narrative of the crazy killing preacher. The silhouette shows his power, his evil, his menace, and terror that he will reign on every character in the film. Bright light shows goodness and innocence, whereas backlit silhouettes show complete evil and darkness. A combination of both, as seen in low-key light, shows this duality as an internal struggle in the character. The clear use of light and shadow is used in The Night of the Hunter by Charles Lawton, who was heavily influenced by German Expressionism for this one and only film he directed. The cinematographer Stanley Cortez said that only two directors he worked with understood light, Orson Welles and Charles Lawton. Being able to manipulate light in a way to produce themes and emotions for the audience was also done by the director Orson Welles in both Citizen Kane and The Magnificent Ambersons. Orson Welles uses backlighting and low-key lighting to let the audience in on the thoughts of the characters in the frame. In the scene where Susan and Kane are arguing about her singing career, we see how both of these lighting concepts are used to show dominance and an inner conflict. Kane is not only above Susan, which shows his dominance, but he is also a tall, dark silhouette. This picture shows his power over her, as well as her inner struggle. Susan's face is half illuminated and half in shadow, similar to Harry Powell, to show her inner struggle of not wanting to sing but not wanting to go against her husband. Now her face is completely in the dark, which shows the darkness that has overtaken her, and we see this eventually leads to her attempted suicide.